Hello, my name is Lauren Lockett, and as part of my pre-calculus class, I will be talking about conic sections, focusing on ellipses. Found in various forms in our daily lives. For example, they're often found on car logos. This one, for example, specifically is the Toyota logo, but they're also found on the Ford and Kia logos. Right here we have a platter, and as I outline this, you can see that it takes the shape of an ellipsis and mirrors a daily object for many people is also in the form of an ellipsis. Some windows on doors on houses and buildings also come in the shape of an ellipsis. And if you were to look at a table from a bird's eye view, you'd see that they are also in the shape of an ellipsis. And even a football is also in the shape of an ellipsis. Now, an ellipsis is formed when a plane strikes a cone at an angle, and if you look down at the cone from a bird's eye view, you'd see the shape of an ellipsis. Here, these two lines show the two axes on an ellipsis, and if you were to graph it, it looks something like this. According to Google, the definition of an ellipse is a regular oval shape traced by a point moving in a plane so that the sum of its distances from two of the points to foci is constant, or resulting when a cone is cut by an oblique plane that does not intersect the base. This particular ellipse is represented by the formula x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equals 1. We have a total of 2 foci, and the interesting part about an ellipse is that if I were to pick a point along the ellipse, and if I were to draw a line from this focus to the point and a line from this focus to the point, I'd get a length, and that length would be the same total length as the total length of the lines if I were to draw 2 lines from each of the focus to this point. The length of the red line should be the same as the length of the green lines, and this is true for any point along the ellipse. Here we have some major components of an ellipse. On an ellipse we have a center. In this case it is at the origin, which is 0, 0. Then we have a major axis going along the x-axis and a minor axis along the y-axis, which is shorter than the major axis. The major axis contains the foci and the vertices. The vertices are the points that are the furthest from the center of the ellipse, and they are on both sides of the ellipse. The foci are also on both sides of the ellipse, and they are located between the center and the vertex. And they are equal distances from the center on both sides. An ellipse at center 0, 0, 0, 0, with a major axis along the x-axis is represented by the formula x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equals 1. Ellipse can also be vertical with a major axis along the y-axis, and this is represented by the equation x squared over b squared plus y squared over a squared equals 1. If we were only given the equation, we can determine whether the ellipse will be vertical or horizontal by looking at the placement of a in the equation. The length of a will always be greater than the length of b, and since a is under the y term, we can tell that the ellipse will have a greater length along the y-axis. Again, on the graph we have the components of an ellipse, including the vertices a1 and a2, the foci f1 and f2, and we also have the letters A, B, and C that represent the different distances, where A is the distance from the vertex to the center, B is the distance of the semi-minor axis, and C is the distance from the focus to the center. If we were only given A and B and we were to determine the length of C, we can use the equation B squared equals A squared minus C squared. We can plug in A and B and solve for C, and together A, B, and C help us graph an ellipse. The coordinates of a vertex look like 0, plus or minus a. The coordinates of the foci look like 0, plus or minus c, and the points of the semi-minor axes look like plus or minus b, 0. My future plans include completing my associate's degree, then transferring to a 4-year university, and although I don't know what career path I want to take, I know that I want to study biology.